Okay, this video is going to walk you through the process of enrolling students in your class if you want to use groups and you want them to enroll themselves. So the first thing you have to do is under Settings, you have to go to Edit Settings, and you have to turn the group option on. So you're going to scroll down, and you want it to say, under Groups, you want it to say Separate Groups, and probably Force Group Mode is No. And then you're going to scroll all the way down and save that so that that will actually enable your groups to be active. Next, under Settings, you go under Users and you go to Enrollment Methods. And we do want them to self-enroll, so we're going to click on the gear next to self-enrollment. We want that eyeball to be on. It doesn't need a needle through it. If it has a needle through it, then they won't be able to self-enroll. So make sure that's open eye. Click on the gear next to self-enrollment. Make sure that self-enrollment says yes. That's the eyeball being open. And if you're going to use groups, then I would encourage you to use some crazy password that they're never going to guess for enrollment key. Because if they were to enter whatever's here, that would enroll them into the class without putting them in a group, and that's not what we want if we're going to be doing groups. Where it says use group enrollment keys, you want that to say yes, and then you're going to scroll down to the bottom of that page and you're going to save those changes. So the final step in this process is actually setting up the groups. So over here on the right, under Users, you're going to click on Groups. And you're going to get a screen. This one I've already set up a bunch of groups, but it's going to be blank, and you will say Create Group. And at this point, you name your group, and so you're going to name it whatever. I always name these with the teacher's last name, and then the class period that the students are in. So like my third period class is going to be in group Hampton 3. I always unmask this enrollment key just to make sure I get it right. And at Vandeventer, we're using a standard across the building that our enrollment key is always the teacher's last name, followed by the class period, all lowercase, no spaces. And you set up that enrollment key and then you save changes. So basically what's happening is I'm setting up a group for every class period, and each group has its own enrollment key. So when my students come in and they navigate to my class, and they get that box that asks them to enter the enrollment key, they'll enter Hampton 3 if they're in my third period, and Hampton 5 if they're in my fifth period, and it will enroll them in the course, but it will also automatically dump them into the correct group. And that's all there is to that.